Obey all runway and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact you have information Tango. Tan Son Nhat International Airport, information Tango. 1300 Zulu. Wind 190 at 5. Cav OK. Temperature 2A. Dew point 27. QNH 100A. Density altitude 1700 feet. Transition level 190.
Bamboo 2677 radio check.
Bamboo 677, 10 Sun net clearance, loud and clear.
Bamboo 677 with information Tango. Request IFR clearance to Singapore.
10 Sun clearance. This is Vietnam Airlines 240 requesting IFR clearance to Hanoi International, requesting runway 25 left.
Bamboo 677, cleared to Singapore, maintain VFR at or below 5500 feet, departure frequency 126.35, squawk 1647.
Bamboo 677 with information Tango. Request IFR clearance to Singapore.
Delivery. Good afternoon. This is Cathay 766 at the gate requesting IFR clearance to Hong Kong International as filed, and I have information Tango.
I'll grab that clearance. Give me just a minute. Bamboo 677, information Tango is current. Cleared to Singapore via the Zobi 2 Delta departure, then as filed. Departure runway 25 left. Initial climb to 5,000 feet. Departure on 126.35, squawk 2142. Clearance on request. Stand by.
Cleared to conventional.
Clear to Singapore via the Zobi 2 Delta departure, then S5 departure runway 25 left. Initial climb to 5,000 feet. Departure on 126.35, squawk 2142. Bamboo 677.
Clearance, Asia 3312 is ready to copy IFR to Don Muon.
Bamboo 677, read back correct. Contact ground on 121.6.
121.6 Bamboo 677. Good day, bye bye.
Clear to Don Muon after departure flight.
Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome aboard Bamboo Airways Flight 677, departing from Ho Chi Minh City and heading to Kuala
advised,
Lumpur.
information
We're
X-ray is
thrilled
now
to have you
current.
with us today.
QNH
Please take your
1009er.
seats according to your boarding passes and stow your hand luggage in the
Hands
overhead bins or
ground,
under the
scooter
seats in front of you.
305, request
If you
push
need
and
any
stop.
assistance, don't hesitate to reach out to any of our friendly crew members, including myself,
Facing east,
Astrid Hansen,
scooter
and my wonderful
305.
colleagues Lars, Ingrid and Bjorn.
Hands on
Thank you
ground,
for choosing
good
Bamboo
evening.
Airways, and we hope you enjoy your flight.
Vietnam 648 with information India. We're in Airbus 321. We request IFR clearance to Manila as filed, please.
Clearance on request. Stand by. All aircraft information Quebec is now current. QNH 1010.
10 Sonet ground. Transworld 178 Heavy at gate 76, requesting pushback and engine start. Push and start approved facing west, Transworld 178 Heavy.
All aircraft be advised, information Echo is now current. QNH 1010. All aircraft be advised, information uniform is now current. QNH 1008.
Cockpit preparation checklist, keeping scope remove, V188 7120 QM set, seatbelts on, ADAS, nav, barrel rep 100A set. Cockpit preparation checklist complete.
All aircraft information Quebec is now current. QNH 1009er.
Ground, Cathay 1518, ready to taxi.
Ground Vietnam 33 requesting taxi to the active.
Vietnam Airlines 33, push and start approved. Face north.
Vietnam Airlines 256, ready for push and start.
Vietnam Airlines 256, cleared for push and start.
Push and start approved. Vietnam Airlines 256.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Nhat ground, good evening. Singapore 749 Heavy. Information Sierra Gate 16, request IFR clearance to Hanoi, Noi Bai.
Place all of your items in the open container.
1 second while I grab the paperwork.
Please hurry on items. Please let the flight attendant know and we would be happy to assist you. If the overhead bin is full, please make sure you close it as a courtesy to other passengers. Please double check that all your items are put away so that the aisle is clear and other passengers can make their way to their seats. If you're in an emergency exit row, please leave exit seating responsibilities in the card in the seat back in front of you. If you're not able to comply with these actions, please let a flight attendant know. That way you can leave.
Good evening.
Not the time to get out any last-minute text messages if you need to, but we ask that once you depart from the gate, you put away any laptops or tablets. Thank you and welcome aboard.
Boarding pass, please. Hello. Hello. This way.
Vietnam Airlines 256, ready to taxi.
Good evening.
Vietnam Airlines 256, taxi to runway 25 left via Victor Sierra.
25 left via Victor, Sierra Vietnam Airlines 256.
This way, please. Boarding pass, please. Boarding pass, please. Hello. May I see your boarding pass? Good evening.
Vietnam Airlines 256, contact tower on 118.55.
Hello.
Switching to tower Vietnam Airlines 256.
Welcome on board. This way. Hello.
Ground, Polar 6151, taxi to the ramp. Polar 6151, taxi to parking via Sierra 8, cross runway 25 left, then Victor. Sierra 8, cross runway 25 left, then Victor, Polar 6151.
Good evening.
Bamboo 272, request pushback.
Boarding pass, please.
272, pushback approved.
Push and start approved. Bamboo 272.
May I see your boarding pass? Welcome on board. Welcome on board. Boarding pass, please.
Bamboo 272, ready to taxi.
Good evening.
Bamboo 272, taxi to runway 25 left via Sierra 5, Victor Sierra.
25 left via Sierra 5, Victor, Sierra Bamboo 272.
Welcome on board. Hello. This way. Welcome on board. Good evening. Good evening. Hello. 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 Hello.
Jet 367, taxi to parking.
Via Jet 367, taxi to parking via Papa 6, cross runway 25 right, then cross runway 25 left, then Sierra 10, Victor.
Bamboo 677 ready for push and start.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard Flight 677 with service to Kuala Lumpur. Our flight time will be roughly 1 hour and 35 minutes. Please note the cabin door is now closed. We We ask that you make sure that all devices are in airplane
Bamboo 677, pans on Nhat ground, push and start approved, face east.
Please fasten your seatbelt.
Push and start through facing east. Bamboo 677.
Bamboo 272, contact tower on 118.
Before start checklist, backing rack set,
Over to tower,
check
Bamboo
the speed and
272.
trust B1157 VR 160 B2162.
Hello, Captain. We
Flight
are ready
time
for
67
pushback.
degrees Celsius set, windows closed, beacons on before start checklist complete.
Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome aboard Bamboo Airways Flight 677, departing from Ho Chi Minh City and heading to Kuala Lumpur. We're thrilled to have you with us today. Please take your seats according to your boarding
Departure
passes
checks
and stow your
completed.
hand luggage in the
Bypass pin
overhead bins
inserted.
or under the seats in front of you. If you need any assistance, don't hesitate to reach out to any of our friendly crew members, including my wonderful colleagues Lars, Ingrid and Bjorn. The captain for this flight is Viet Vung Ve, and our first officer is Khan Tran. We expect to be in the air for about 1 hour and 35 minutes. Now, let's go over some important safety information. First, please ensure your seatbelt is fastened low and tight
Lock in
unless
gear.
allowed. To unfasten your seatbelt, simply lift the buckle. In the unlikely event of a loss of cabin pressure, oxygen masks will drop down from the panel above you. Pull the mask towards you to start the flow of oxygen. Place it over your nose and mouth and secure it with the elastic band. Remember to put your mask on first before assisting others. For our overwater flight, life vests are located
Release
under
parking
your
brakes.
seats. To use them, pull
Commencing
the vest
push.
out,
All
slip it
engines
over
clear.
your head,
Start
and
at
pull the
will.
straps to tighten. Inflate the vest by pulling the red tabs or by blowing into the tubes. Emergency exits on this Airbus 320 are located at the front, middle and rear of the cabin. Please take a moment to locate the exit nearest to you, keeping in mind that it may be behind you. In case of an emergency, follow the illuminated exit signs to reach the exits. We will be cruising at an altitude of 34,000 feet, and after the meal service, I will come around selling articles from the Bamboo Airways shop. Thank you for your attention, and we hope you have a pleasant flight. Captain Viet Vung Ve, the cabin is ready for departure.
Hân hạnh chào đón quý khách trên chuyến bay của Bamboo Airways, hãng hàng không của sự hiếu khách.
Welcome aboard Bamboo Airways, the airline of hospitality.
Kính thưa quý khách, vì an toàn của chuyến bay, kính mời quý khách theo dõi hướng dẫn về an toàn trên máy bay.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the safety of the flight, may we have your attention for the safety demonstration.
Khi đã lên máy bay, đề nghị quý khách không hút thuốc dưới mọi hình thức.
Once on board, any type of smoking is strictly prohibited.
Các thiết bị điện tử phải được tắt nguồn hoặc chuyển sang chế độ máy bay trong suốt hành trình bay.
Electronic devices must be turned off or switched to flight mode during the flight.
Quý khách lưu ý, không sạc pin các thiết bị điện tử trong quá trình máy bay lan cất và hạ cánh.
Charging electronic devices is not allowed during taxi, takeoff and landing.
Trong quá trình máy bay lan cất và hạ cánh, quý khách cài dây an toàn, dựng thẳng lưng ghế, đóng bàn ăn, xếp gọn chân ghế và màn hình.
During taxi, takeoff and landing, you are requested to fasten your seatbelt, set seat back upright, secure tray table, footrest, and monitor.
Quý khách đặt hành lý trong ngăn đựng phía trên hoặc xếp gọn dưới ghế phía trước.
Carry-on luggage is requested to stow under the seat in front of you or in the overhead lockers.
Không để hành lý trên lối đi, khu vực cửa thoát hiểm, dưới chân các vách ngăn và phía sau chân của quý khách.
The aisle, the exit rows, the area under fixed bulkhead, and behind your leg must be clear of any luggage.
Quý khách cài dây an toàn trong suốt thời gian bay và khi đèn hiệu cài dây an toàn được bật sáng. Dây an toàn được cài như sau: cài hai đầu khóa vào nhau. Nếu phải thêm một đầu dây móc, quý khách bắt chéo dây ngang người, cài đầu móc vào khóa, kéo một đầu dây để sát
Waiting your confirmation for a good engine start.
Nếu quý khách đi cùng trẻ em hoặc cần dây an toàn nối dài, vui lòng liên hệ với tiếp viên hàng không để được trợ giúp.
Cockpit to ground. We suspect an engine problem. We need to go back to the parking spot.
Distribution of infant seatbelt or extension belt will be provided by cabin crew. Please make sure your seatbelt is fastened and visible to the cabin crew. Whenever seatbelt sign is on, please fasten your seatbelt and keep it while you are seated. Your safety belt is fastened like this. Insert the metal buckle into the other for additional shoulder belt. Cross the belt in front of your body, then hook the metal buckle into the lock. Tighten by pulling the strap and unfasten by lifting the buckle or pressing on the lock.
Trường hợp mất áp suất, mặt nạ dưỡng khí sẽ rơi xuống từ phía trên ghế ngồi và trong phòng vệ sinh. Quý khách kéo mạnh mặt nạ để có dưỡng khí, đeo mặt nạ lên mũi và miệng, choàng dây qua đầu, siết chặt.
VFTS 160 ready for pushback.
Oxygen mask will be released from the cabin ceiling and in the lavatory.
After start checklist, anti-ice off became status check big trim 26% retrim neutral after start checklist completes.
Quý khách hãy đeo mặt nạ cho mình trước.
Bamboo 677 ready to taxi to runway
Please put on
25
your
left.
own mask first, then help the children and anyone nearby who may need assistance.
Trong trường hợp thoát hiểm, hệ thống đèn chỉ lối thoát hiểm sẽ dẫn quý khách đến cửa thoát hiểm.
In case of evacuation, emergency
Bamboo
light system
677, runway 82 does not exist. Taxi to runway 25 left via Victor, Sierra, Sierra 1.
In the cabin there are 8
Taxi to
exits
runway
the
25 left
front, fore,
via
and middle,
Victor,
and 2 at the
Sierra,
rear. Please
Sierra 1,
identify your
Bamboo
nearest emergency
677.
exits, marked sign.
Áo phao được đặt dưới ghế ngồi của quý khách hoặc phía dưới bên cạnh ghế. Khi được yêu cầu sử dụng, quý khách lấy áo ra khỏi vị trí, xé bỏ bọc, mặc áo choàng qua đầu và thắt chặt dây quanh eo. Quý khách lưu ý không được làm phồng áo khi ở trong khoang khách.
Life vests are
Full left,
located under your seat
full
or
right,
below, next to
neutral
your
rudder,
seat. When
full left,
instructed by cabin
full right,
crew, remove
neutral.
it from its location and package. Put on the life vest and secure it carefully. Do not inflate the life vest in the cabin.
Ngay tại cửa, quý khách làm phồng áo bằng cách giật mạnh thẻ nhựa hoặc thổi vào ống màu đỏ.
At exit, pull the tag firmly downwards or blow into mouthpieces to inflate it.
Trên áo phao có còi và đèn để lôi cuốn sự chú ý.
There are a whistle and a light on your vest for attracting
Vietjet
attention.
160 ready to taxi.
Sử dụng áo phao trong trường hợp khẩn cấp hoặc khi tiếp viên hàng không
Vietjet 160, taxi to runway 25 left via Sierra 5, Victor, Sierra.
Emergency or when instructed by cabin crew only.
Taxi checklist, flight control check, flight setting config radar and predictive windshield on another engine mode select normal increment mode take off no flow taxi
And
checklist
now,
complete.
please read the safety briefing card in the seat pocket in front of you or next to your seat.
Trân trọng cảm ơn sự theo dõi của quý khách. Chúng tôi rất mong quý khách sẽ có trải nghiệm an toàn và thú vị trên các chuyến bay của Bamboo Airways.
We thank you for your attention and we hope you have a great time on board with Bamboo Airways.
Air Hong Kong 572 ready for pushback.
Air Hong Kong 572, cleared for push and start.
Push and start approved. Air Hong Kong 572.
Please note, the cabin lights will be dimmed for departure and landing. If you require additional lighting, there's a reading light on the panel above you. The cabin is ready.
The cabin is now secure for takeoff.
Air Hong Kong 572 ready to taxi.
Air Hong Kong 572, taxi to runway 25 right via Yankee 3, Sierra 5, cross runway 25 left at your discretion. Bamboo 677, contact tower on 118.7, take care.
Tower on 118.7, Bamboo 677.
25 right via Yankee 3, Sierra 5, cross runway 25, left our discretion. Air Hong Kong 572.
Good evening, Tower Bamboo 677, holding short runway 25 left, ready for departure.
677, Tan's on Nhat Tower, runway 25 left, winds 200 at 6, cleared for takeoff.
Winds 200 at 6, clear for takeoff, runway 25 left, Bamboo 677.
116, Singapore 186.
Cabin crew, please take seats for departure.
781, contact departure. Bamboo 677, say again, please.
Okay, Captain. All doors in flight.
Winds 200 at 6, clear for takeoff, runway 25 left, Bamboo 677.
Cathay 767, Tan Sun Nhat Tower, turn right, heading 005. Cathay 767, welcome to Tan Sun Nhat. Contact ground on 121.9.
Cabin crews, please take seat for departure.
Cathay 767, good day.
Okay, Captain. Cabin crew, take seats for departure.
Lap checklist, takeoff, runway 25 left, confirm TCAS, TIRA, pass 1 2 on lap checklist complete.
25 left, cleared to land, VietJet 1155.
Chapter 1, contact departure.
Departure.
Vietnam Airlines 403, welcome to Tan Sun Nhat. Contact ground on 121.6.
Ground 121.6, Vietnam Airlines 403.
VietJet 645, contact ground on 121.6.
Switching to ground, VietJet 645.
Transworld 178, contact departure.
Roger. Switching departure, Transworld 178 Heavy.
Cathay 766, contact departure.
Learjet 6 Bravo Lima, contact departure.
Over departure, 78 Bravo.
Five, contact departure.
Contact departure, Vision 825.
Bamboo 677, contact departure.
Contact departure, Bamboo 677. Good day, bye bye. Good evening, departure, Bamboo 677, with you passing 2,000 feet, climbing to 5,000 feet.
Bamboo 677, Tan Sun Nhat departure, radar contact, climb 5,000.
Climbing to 5,000 feet, Bamboo 677.
Cathay 767, contact Tan Sun Nhat Tower on 118.7.
Cathay 767, good day.
DI-1 request, disregard.
Bamboo 677, climb flight level 200. Bamboo 272, contact VNTN center on 124.1.
Climbing to flight level 200, Bamboo 677.
Bamboo 677, say again, I didn't catch that.
Climbing to flight level 200 Bamboo 677.
Trans World 362, climb flight level 280. Bamboo 677, roger. Via jet 1158, contact Hanoi Center on 125.9er.
Switching to Hanoi Center on 125.9er via jet 1158.
Hands on Nhat departure. Cathay Pacific 7032, ready to copy IFR.
1 second while I grab the paperwork. Bamboo 677, climb flight level 260.
Climbing to flight level 260 Bamboo 677.
Contact cams from that tower on 118.7.
Tower 118.7, 306.
Gentlemen, we have now passed 10,000 feet. You may now turn on your larger portable electronic devices. This is also a reminder that you can fast logic not concentrate in the galley or near the lavatory. This aircraft
Bamboo 677, climb flight level 280.
Once you connect to the Wi-Fi, you'll be directed to a small
Over to Hanoi.
Climbing to flight level 280 Bamboo 677.
Dear guests, we are now above the safe altitude, and I am pleased to inform you that the use of electronic devices is now allowed.
Bamboo
You can
677,
now
roger.
connect to
Maintain
our
flight level
Wi-Fi
280.
service as well. We hope you enjoy your flight with Bamboo Airways Flight 677. And if you need anything, just let one of our friendly crew members know.
Climbing to flight level 280 Bamboo 677.
Now that as we move around the cabin, however, we ask that you keep your seatbelt fastened as uneven movement.
Vietnam Airlines 978, descend altitude 7,000 feet.
Descend 7,000, Vietnam Airlines 978.
Bamboo 677, climb flight level 320.
Climbing to flight level 230, Bamboo 677.
Bamboo 677, contact Ho Chi Minh Control on 120.1.
Switching to Ho Chi Minh Control on 120.1. Bamboo 677. Ho Chi Minh Control, Bamboo 677 evening. Climbing through flight level 180 for flight level 320.
Bamboo 677, Ho Chi Minh Control, identified, Chalong.
Sierra Oscar Kilo Alpha November. Turns from Nhat approach. Cafe 767.
Bamboo 677, Ho Chi Minh Control, climb flight level 340.
Climbing to flight level 340. Bamboo 677.
King 74 Alpha, contact Ho Chi Minh Control on 120.9er.
Contact Ho Chi Minh Control at 120.9er. King Air 74 Alpha.
Cathay 691, contact Ho Chi Minh Control on 120.9er.
Over to 120.9er, Cathay 6901.
Descend altitude 10,000 feet. Oceana 731 heavy. Machine control, Oceana 731 heavy. Request descent to 2,500.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached cruising altitude and we will begin our snack and drink service shortly. Today we have some delightful options for you, including our delicious spring rolls and refreshing beverages. After the service, we will also be offering articles from the Bamboo Airways shop, so stay tuned for that. Thank you for flying with us on Bamboo Airways Flight 677, and we hope you enjoy your flight.
flight service. Multi-service complimentary drinks and snacks. Food and drinks are available for a small charge. Please note we only accept credit cards.
Bamboo 677, contact Ho Chi Minh Control on 120.9er.
Contacting Ho Chi Minh Control on 120.9er. Bamboo 677. Ho Chi Minh Control, Bamboo 677, evening, maintaining flight level 340.
Bamboo 677, Ho Chi Minh Control identified, Chow Boy Toy.
Ho Chi Minh Center, good to see 06, west to south.
Scooter 306, descend and maintain flight level 350, got that.
Scooter 306, level 350, request south. Ho Chi Minh Center, Scooter 350, request south.
Scooter 161, Ho Chi Minh Control, climb and maintain flight level 380.
Minh Control, Scooter 161, level 380, would like to remain at flight level 360, please.
Scooter 161, roger, maintain flight level 360.
Flight level 360, thank you, Scooter 161.
King Air 5974 Alpha, Ho Chi Minh Control, you're leaving controlled airspace. Contact Oceanic Control. Primary is 119.565, secondary is 132.335.
Contact Oceanic Control at 119.565. King Air 74 Alpha.
So far was Sierra arrival in about 15 minutes. Which runway is to expected at Ho Chi Minh? Number 182, which runway at Ho Chi Minh.
Singapore 182, Ho Chi Minh Control. Expect the Zobi 1 Sierra arrival. I'll call your descent in roughly 15 minutes. If you'd like to descend now, just say the word. Direct Sobab.
Ho Chi Minh Control, Singapore 186 at flight level 400.
Singapore 186, Ho Chi Minh Control identified. Good evening.
Bamboo 677, Ho Chi Minh Control, expect the Puli 3 Juliet arrival. Plan for descent in maybe 20 minutes. Feel free to ask if you'd like it sooner.
Expect the Puli 3 Juliet arrival. We'll plan for descent in about 20 minutes. Bamboo 677.
Scooter 161, you are leaving controlled airspace. Contact Oceanic Control. Primary is 119.565. Secondary is 132.335.
119.565 with 161. Bye. Maintain flight level. Scooter 161, request flight level 370, please.
Scooter 161, climb and maintain flight level 370.
Maintain flight level 370, thank you. Scooter 161.
Scooter 161, you are leaving controlled airspace. Contact Oceanic Control. Primary is 119.565. Secondary is 132.335.
Oceanic Control, Bamboo 677 with you at flight level 340.
Bamboo 677, Oceanic Control, radar contact. Maintain flight level 340.
Maintain flight level 340, Bamboo 677.
Oceanic Control, Food 161, flight level 370.
Bamboo 677, contact Lumpur radar on 133.55.
Switching to Lumpur radar on 133.55. Bamboo 67. Lumpur radar, Bamboo 677, good evening, maintaining flight level 340.
Bamboo 677, Lumpur radar identified. Assalamu alaikum.
Descend altitude 1,000 feet.
Delta 54, climb flight level 280.
Unable, request flight level 110.
Radar, Vietnam Airline, 674, flight level 370.
Vietnam Airline 674, Lumpur radar identified. Good evening.
Alpha radar, Speedbird 66 Juliet, we are now ready to descend.
Speedbird 66 Juliet, Lumpur radar, roger. Descend flight level 240 and 10 nautical miles.
Climbing and maintain flight level 360, Malaysian 196. Negative, Malaysian 196 unable to climb flight level 380. Would like to maintain flight level 360.
Malaysian 196 approved. Maintain flight level 360 for cruise.
Turkish 49 Alpha, you still with me?
Turkish 49er Alpha, Lumpur radar identified. Good evening.
Singapore Airlines requesting direct to Echo Golf Uniform Romeo, India.
Singapore 108, contact Lumpur approach on 135.25. Malaysian 122, speed 230 knots.
Speed 230 knots.
Pacifica 2090, Lumpur radar, climb flight level 220.
Singapore 222.
Singapore 222, Lumpur radar identified. Good evening.
Climb flight level VV60, Singapore 4904 Super.
Bamboo 677, descend via Puli 3 Juliet into Lumpur.
Descend via Puli 3 Juliet into Lumpur. Bamboo 677.
Bamboo 677, cross Igori at flight level 130.
Cross Igori at flight level 130, Bamboo 677.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now left our cruising altitude and have started our approach to Kuala Lumpur. Please return to your seats and ensure your seatbelts are securely fastened. The usage of the lavatories is now not allowed. Thank you for your cooperation as we prepare for landing.
Ladies and gentlemen, the flight crew has turned on the fasten seatbelt sign. And fasten your seatbelt.
Bamboo 677, cross Kilo 894 at altitude 10,000, QNH 1011.
Cross Kilo
Kilo 8904 at 10,000, QNH 1011, Bamboo 677.
Bamboo 677, speed 230 knots.
Runways 32 right, 33. Departing runways 32 right, 32 left, 33 advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact you have information Juliet. Kuala Lumpur International Airport, information Juliet. 1500 Zulu. Wind 360 at 3. Visibility 6. Sky conditions, cumulonimbus at 1700 feet. Temperature 27. Dew point 23. QNH 1011. Density altitude 1500 feet. Transition level 120. Arriving runways 32 right, 33. Departing runways 32 right, 32 left. 33 advise on course heading. Bamboo 677, contact Lumpur approach on 135.25.
Switching to Lumpur approach on 135.25. Bamboo 677.
Bamboo 677, speed 230 knots.
Lumpur approach, Bamboo 677 evening. Descending through flight level 160 to 10,000.
Bamboo 677, Lumpur approach identified. Good evening. Expect the ILS runway 32 right approach into Lumpur via Igori.
Malaysia 765, contact Lumpur Tower on 122.15. Expecting the ILS runway 32 right approach via Igori. Bamboo 677.
Malaysian 2742, Kuala Lumpur Sepang departure climb and maintain flight level 120.
Climb and maintain flight level 120, Malaysian 2742.
Malaysian 2742, climb and maintain flight level 120.
Climb and maintain flight level 120, Malaysian 2742.
Request descend Malaysia 873. Descend altitude 2000 feet, Malaysia 873. Malaysia 873, would like to request descend to 2000 feet. Malaysia 873, would like to descend to flight level.
Malaysian 2640, Lumpur departure climb and maintain flight level 250.
Climb and maintain flight level 250, Malaysian 2640.
Malaysian 2640, contact Lumpur radar on 120.75.
Bamboo 677, descend altitude 7,000.
Descending to 7,000, Bamboo 677.
and have a great day. Redcap 1415.
Redcap 1415. Say again your request or intention.
We have begun our final descent to Kuala Lumpur. Flight attendants will be passing through the cabin to select any track one final time. Please ensure your tables and stones are in the full upright position. Please also store any carry-on items, either the
Malaysian 7402, climb and maintain flight level 250.
So any larger electronics.
Maintain flight level 250, Malaysian 7402. Lumpur departure, Redcap 5136, please short 3 to right, ready for takeoff.
F5136, Lumpur radar contact Lumpur Tower on 118.5. Day. Malaysian 2742, climb and maintain flight level 260.
Climb maintain 260, Malaysian 2742.
Malaysian 2742, contact Kuala Lumpur
Captain,
Center
cabin
on
is ready.
132.6.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now beginning our final approach into Kuala Lumpur. Please turn off all electronic devices and stow them away until we have arrived
climb
at the
and
gate.
maintain
We
flight
kindly
level
ask you to put your tray
310.
tables away. Ensure your seats are in their full upright position and fasten your seatbelts. Once we land, our
Malaysia
Bamboo Airways staff will
765,
provide you with
contact
information
Lumpur
regarding
radar on
the landing plans. Thank you for your
125.325.
cooperation.
153.325, Malaysian 765.
Bamboo 677, direct Igori, descend altitude 4500, cleared for the ILS runway 32 right approach, Igori transition.
Direct to Gori, descending to 4,500. Cleared for the ILS runway 32 right approach, Igori transition. Bamboo 677.
Malaysian 873, descend altitude 5500 feet.
Malaysia 873.
Hi, Captain. The cabin is now secure for landing.
Bamboo 677, contact Lumpur Tower on 118.5.
Contacting Lumpur Tower on 118.5. Bamboo 677. Lumpur Tower, Bamboo 677 evening. We're established on the ILS for runway 32 right approach.
Bamboo 677, Lumpur Tower, roger. Continue approach runway 32 right.
Lumpur Tower, good evening, Malaysian 126, establish ILS runway 32 right. Lumpur Tower, Malaysian 126, ILS runway 32 right.
Malaysian 126, Lumpur Tower, roger. Continue approach.
Lumpur Tower, Malaysian 126, establish runway 32 right.
Cabin crew take seats for landing.
Clear to land, runway 32 right, Malaysia encountering.
Malaysian 873. Say again your last transmission.
Clear to land, runway 32 right.
Over departure, China Southern 5080.
China Southern 5080, contact departure.
Contact departure, China Southern 5080.
Malaysia 873, Kuala Lumpur Tower, runway 02.
Malindo 1632, contact departure on 135.25.
Contact departure on 125.25, Malindo 1632. Correction, 135.25, Malindo 1632.
Malaysian 2640, contact departure on 135.25.
135.25, Malaysian 2640.
Malaysian 608, welcome to Lumpur. Contact ground on 122.15.
122.15 from Malaysia 608.
Lumpur Tower, can I get the weather depth 54? Oh, thank you.
Malaysian
Malaysian 7402, contact departure on 118.5.
Check departure on 118.5. Okay, good morning, Malaysian 7402 at 2,800 for 6,000.
Malaysian 7402, climb and maintain 6,200, report passing 6,000.
Bamboo 677, wind 360 at 3, runway 32 right, cleared to land.
Runway 32 right, cleared to land. Bamboo 677.
Victor, contact departure.
Contact departure, 84 Victor.
84 Victor, contact Lumpur departure.
Contact Lumpur departure, Thai 84 Victor.
Singapore 108, welcome to Lumpur. Contact ground on 122.15.
Ground on 122.15, Singapore 108. Departure Malaysian 7402, passing 6,000.
Malaysian 7402, radar contact, climb and maintain flight level 310, proceed on course.
Maintain flight level 310.
Delta 54, roger.
Can you confirm there are few clouds on 017?
Malaysian 102, roger, contact Lumpur radar on 135.25. Safe flight.
Contact Lumpur radar on 135.25. Thank you.
Above. Minimum.
Flight slow. Flight slow. Flight slow. Flight
20,
slow.
40, 30, 20. Retard. 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 Retard.
Gentlemen, welcome to Kuala Lumpur. The local time is
Bamboo 677, welcome to Lumpur. Contact ground on 122.15.
degrees Celsius. You can now use your mobile devices. Please remain
Switching to ground on 122.15. Bamboo 677.
Remember to use caution when opening the overhead bin, as items may have shifted during the flight. We thank you for flying with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have just landed at Kuala Lumpur International Airport. What a landing that was.
Lumpur Tower,
The captain
Bamboo
did an excellent
677.
job, and I must say
Evening,
it
we're
would be
clear
rated
of runway
an 8
32
out of
right
10.
and ready to taxi
Now,
to the gate.
as we taxi to our gate, please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened
Bamboo
until we reach our
677, Lumpur
final
Tower,
parking
taxi to the
position.
gate via CNE. Welcome to
Now,
Lumpur.
a fun fact about Kuala Lumpur.
Lumpur ground,
Did you
Malaysian
know that the
127
Petronas
at
Towers
10
are once the
Alpha
tallest
2, ready for
buildings in
push
the
and start.
world? And oh, the weather
Taxi
here
to
is
the gate
quite
via
warm
Charlie
with a
and
temperature
Echo.
of 27
Bamboo
degrees
677.
Celsius. Thank you for flying with Bamboo Airways Flight 677. Captain Viet Vung Vey, First Officer Khan Tran, and the entire crew, including Lars, Ingrid, and Bjorn, would like to say goodbye to you
Malaysia
now. We
765,
hope you have a
you're
wonderful
welcome.
time in Kuala Lumpur.
AKM 581, contact departure.
Yes, what is the departure frequency? Red cap 228.
Ground 122, National 15, Malaysia 765. Kuala Lumpur ground, what number is the 60 gate? What letter is the 60? Thank you.
Air ISA 127, contact departure on 135.25.
Over departure on 135.25. Good day.
Lumpur ground, Malaysian 370, request taxi.
Malaysian 370, pushback approved, face southwest.
Lumpur ground, Malaysian 370, request taxi. Taxi to runway 32 left via Tango 2, Tango 4, Foxtrot, Delta 2, Charlie, Charlie 4, Malaysian 370.
All aircraft be advised, information kilo is now current. QNH 1011. Malaysian 873, contact departure on 135.25.
Lumpur ground, Singapore 232, request taxi to parking.
All aircraft information Sierra is now current. QNH 1008. Vision Jet 59, contact departure.
Switching to departure, Vision Jet 759er. Thank you, have a good afternoon. Switching to departure, Vision Jet 759er.
1007, wind 360 at 3, runway 32 right, cleared to land.
32 right, cleared to land, MXD 1007.
All doors are in park, Captain. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now parked at Kuala Lumpur International Airport. On behalf of Captain Viet Vong Vey, First Officer Khan Tran, and the entire crew, including Lars, Ingrid and Bjorn, we wish you a wonderful stay here or a safe journey to your next destination. Thank you for flying with Bamboo Airways Flight 677. We hope to see you again soon. Goodbye and take care.